Right now on Denver 7 News at 4, the future of the Adams 14 School District is up in the air, now in the hands of the State Board of Education. We check in on where everything stands.
Record high inflation can make saving money right now seem impossible, but we're breaking down a shopping strategy economists say can help. And 4 times as many Americans identify as mixed race now. That's compared to just 10 years ago. We're looking at the effects this could have on perceptions about race and future policy.
Plus, we hear from a teen that was inside this house when this happened. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Jason Grenauer. The fate of the Adams 14 School District is hanging in the balance today after struggling with student performance for the past decade. We have a look now at the overflow room of the State Board of Education as people try to make their way into the actual boardroom. The Denver Board of Education told Denver 7 a decision would be made by now. That was originally coming from the state, but they have one more hearing with another school within the district. Before the last recess, though, we are hearing that some state board members said they do not want to close any schools, and they do want a partial or full-time management partnership to help the district succeed, while other members want the district to lose its accreditation. Now, we do have a crew at the meeting listening in right now. We will bring you the latest updates starting on Denver 7 News at 5. Now, once the Board of Education makes their final decision, we will hear from the Adams 14 School District, their side. They tell Denver 7 to expect that around 7 p.m. So it continues to be quite the long day for everyone involved. Now, Adams 14 is presenting that plan to improve their district. But if the state board does not find the district's plan adequate, it has a few options on what to do next. The state board could choose to close Adams City High School. The board could also take the unprecedented step of forcing the district to reorganize. That could mean placing each school under the control of a neighboring district. The state education commissioner tells Denver 7 the process is all about making sure Adams 14 students are getting the tools they need to succeed. Adams 14 has received the state's 2 lowest performance ratings every year since 2010. Now, of course, turning a school around can be hard work, but it can be done. We have the proof. Between 2016 and 2019, Eagleton Elementary in Denver went from having low performance ratings to meeting state standards. Principal Janine Dillabaugh says truly connecting with students online and in person was one way the school was able to move the needle towards progress. The approach to academics changed too.
We have worked to really ground teachers in the standards, unpacking standards, knowing what the standards require of their instruction so that they're providing grade level, rigorous work for our students.
In 2019, the school was in the green, meeting expectations in the majority of performance metrics. Now, while we talk about Adams 14 and turning schools around, well, former Douglas County Schools Superintendent Corey Wise, well, he's filing a discrimination complaint against his former school district. The complaint says Wise's firing violated the Colorado Anti-Discrimination Act, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, and the Americans with Disabilities Act. It also says Wise suffered emotional distress during his firing. His attorneys say Wise was deprived of the full benefit of his contract, and he couldn't retire with distinction from the district where he served for more than 25 years. Douglas County did not have any comment. Denver 7's Shannon Ogden spoke with Wise today. You can watch more of his interview starting tonight on Denver 7 News at 5. To the latest on COVID-19 now, the state public health department has extended their public health order for at least 4 more weeks. That means you'll have to wear a mask or even provide vaccination status in some settings based on CDC guidelines. That includes masking at nursing homes and prisons. Vaccines will be required for state contractors working in residential care settings. And the state will continue to report its hospital data regarding COVID-19 cases. That new order will be in effect until May 13th.
Pfizer is looking to expand COVID-19 booster shots to children younger than 12. The company says new data shows younger kids who got the booster shot 6 months after their second dose produced antibodies high enough to fight off the Omicron variant. It was tested during the winter when Omicron cases were high. A booster shot is already recommended for everyone 12 and older. Pfizer plans to ask for FDA authorization soon. COVID cases are once again on the rise in the U.S. They're being driven by the more contagious Omicron variant known as BA2. Cases are up 8% across the country in the past 2 weeks, but they're trending higher in the Northeast. In Philadelphia, cases jumped by 50%, prompting the city to bring back its indoor mask mandate. It's the first major city to do that. Meanwhile, the federal mask mandate on public transportation, which was set to expire next week, has been extended another 2 weeks because of the uptick. As Maya Rodriguez reports, even as cases tick up, mask fatigue may be taking a toll.
In the city of brotherly love this week, a blast from the recent past. Masks are back in Philadelphia's indoor spaces.
If we wait to find out and to put our masks back on, we'll have lost our chance to stop the wave.
The mask mandate there follows an increase in COVID cases, both in that city and the Northeast as a whole.
There's a high population density and it's still fairly cold, so people aren't outside as often as they could be in other parts of the country. So all of those things could be contributing to it.
Dr. Jessica Holzer is with the University of New Haven, specializing in public health. She says, much like in the early days of the pandemic, the Northeast could be a canary in a coal mine of what awaits the rest of the country when it comes to COVID cases.
People from the Northeast will travel for spring break or something else, visiting family for Easter weekend. All those sorts of things might absolutely affect case rates across the rest of the country.
She says one thing could prevent that: wearing a high-quality mask.
Wearing a mask really does effectively cut down the spread.
But a new survey finds that Americans are over it. It shows most believe the pandemic is no longer a crisis. 75% call it a manageable problem, while 16% say it's no longer a problem at all.
There's a baseline fatigue that we are dealing with for sure, but it's also worth recognizing that the more we focus on that fatigue, the more that fatigue presents itself to us.
Dr. Holzer says that fatigue will also make it harder for public health officials to manage any future COVID surges.
But I believe that high quality public health decision making will say that at a certain point, once case rates get high enough, once test positivity gets high enough, it's time to reinstate that mask policy for population well-being.
Putting Americans' COVID exhaustion to the test. I'm Maya Rodriguez.
Maya, thank you for that report. Well, some employers are adding more background checks as they try to boost hiring. Why this is also causing concerns about the information being used unfairly.
Also coming up, a rising name in the game of chess. What makes this Colorado teen's success more incredible are the obstacles he's overcome.